And this looks a fascinating match. Sanavia there, unbeaten in 24 starts. And Morrade Hakkar, seen a couple of times previously, never really thought of him much as a European title, but this game has changed so much, hasn't it? So the Italian then comes to the ring, very pugnacious looking character. Referee for this one, Larry O'Connell, one of the of course. And Sanavia is a southpaw, which could make life difficult for Hakkar. So into round one then, Hakkar, the Frenchman, is now 29 years of age. The Italian, 26. And of course, everybody knows how hard it is to win in Italy. Especially, of course, against a man for a championship. This is the vacant European Middleweight title, and Hakkar looking very poor, just pouring with that jab in these early stages. As I say, I've seen him a couple of times before, and he's never struck me much as being European title material. He has been, incidentally, French champion a couple of times, also WBC international champion, which doesn't really say an awful lot. A couple of names on his record worth noting. In fact, there's not actually, to be honest with you, except one amazing win, which he got way back now in 1994. He beat Mamadou Thiam, decent left cross there from the Italian. Thiam, of course, went on to become European champion, very hard puncher, and fought for the world title. Got wiped out in a couple of rounds, though. So that's the biggest win so far for Hakkar, but he looks very ordinary in these early stages, doesn't he? Just pouring with that jab. He looks an awful lot older than 29. So if ever Sanavia was going to become a champion, it's now, although he's had his fair share from Italian champion, also a WBC international champion and a WBU intercontinental champion. I think that's right. I'm not really sure about the WBU minor titles. So Hakkar then has got a very tough job on his hands here, I think. He looks like an old man, doesn't he, Hakkar, the way he moves, the way he throws his punches, almost underwater. Been a pro for almost 10 years. Sanavia turned professional in 1997. And as I say, he's unbeaten now in 24 professional fights. All but one of his fights taking place in Italy. He boxed once in Switzerland, beat Mario Montaigne on points over 8 rounds. Of course, Montaigne, a well-known survivor. So last few seconds then of round one. In fact, well, there is the bell, and it's a lousy bell, that one. It's a very dull sound, as you can hear. Decent start then for the Italian, winning that round 10-9.
Just hit the canvas 10 seconds.
So here we are then, looking at Sanavia. He's the favourite here, obviously. And Morrade Hakkar, well, you know, nothing personal, of course, but he does look, in boxing parlance, like an old man out there. He's moving quite poorly, throwing very slow punches, and getting caught with some sucker shots, but there you are. And that's one of them. It's actually coming to you from Civitavecchia in Italy. And Morrade Hakkar just lost the opener. And for the record, he's scored 17 knockout wins in 28 successes against 2 defeats. Sanavia, no, he's 24-0 with 11 stoppage wins. So not a great puncher on the record, but looks like a fairly stiff hitter. He's well built. Not much waste on him, is there? And this should be pretty competitive, I would say. They're about, well, there's not a great deal, I don't think, between them ability-wise. And Hakar now coming into things slightly more here in the second round. Sanavia, by the way, lovely left cross there. He beat Jerry Elliott, the German-based Nigerian, on points over 12 to become WBC international champion. So a bit of decent form there. But of course, it's awfully difficult to trust the result since it happened in Italy. Decent left again from Sanavia. Bags of support for Sanavia. And once again, overreaching by Hakar. And of course, all of the decent fighters in Europe now must be fighting for world title honours, because you get two guys like this, I'm afraid, who've sort of come out of nowhere and a deal was struck. And here they are fighting for the vacant European Middleweight crown. And what a history that title has got. Well, Hakar, they're having a brief bit of success. But despite that, Sanavia is still very much in control here, I think. Well, I've got to give Hakar his credit, because he probably deserved a share of that second round. He worked pretty hard. So Morrade Hakar then, pretty friendless amongst this Italian crowd. So we've seen him a couple of times previously on Eurosport. I've seen him also elsewhere in France when he's not actually been featured on screen. And of course, the European Boxing Union have just shot themselves very firmly in the foot. They've instigated another way of taking sanction fees off promoters by having a thing called the European Community Championship rather than the European title. Decent left hand there on the replay from Sanavia, and again. And the European Community title is only available for those outside the top three, and of course based in the European community. Here we go then for round three. And a good fight so far. Regardless of the politics and the ability of these two, it's not a belt scrap so far. So Morrade Hakar then just taking the fight once again to Sanavia. And not doing too badly. Oh, once again though, walking into that left hand from the Italian. And he's got to try and keep out of the way of that one. He's very straight backed. He doesn't move his head an awful lot. And he really is there to be hit. The Frenchman I'm talking about, of course. He's still poking out those gloves. All of the heavy stuff coming from Sanavia. And again, speed of punch here, massive difference between these two. And there are few occasions really when Hakkar is actually in the right position to deliver a punch. He's always far too far out. And you just got to see the way he leans over his front foot and overstretches himself. And of course, that's when he's vulnerable to the counter because he can't get out quick enough. And that's a good example there. And really, Sanavia need do no more than wait for Hakkar to lead and then crack him. He's there to be hit. And he doesn't even have to go looking for him. He's right there in front of him. So Sanavia then finishing this third round pretty well. And it's funny, Hakkar's a brave fighter, but he's fighting like a timid man. He's not committing himself to the punch necessarily. And I just wonder why he is overreaching like this. It's a dreadful flaw for a man when you consider his experience. He's now had 30 professional fights. It's probably a mistake he wasn't making at the beginning. I want to say that Cristian Sanavia, with that speeder punch of his, is having the edge, although Morrade Hakkar is making a pretty decent fight of this one. I don't think so far he's run around. He's been busy, but the quality punches are coming from the Italian. And those two defeats, by the way, for Hakkar. He's only been stopped on one occasion. I think that was a cut by a man he'd beaten a couple of times before and after. So Sanavia now looking to try and keep Hakkar on the back foot. He's given him quite a bit of space over the first three, but I think he's been told to get out there and try and stay on top and be the boss. But of course, in this early, early stages, round four, Hakkar still quite prepared and capable of punching with him. I don't think there's been a clinch yet in 3.5 rounds. Referee Larry O'Connell's not had to say a word yet to either of these. So the most significant round so far of the fight, and it's all going Sanavia's way. Referee Larry O'Connell, by the way, a top-class amateur, never boxed professionally, but a very, very good fighter. Posted a win over Dick McTaggart on one previous occasion. Again, the left hand coming in from Sanavia. And it all looks awfully difficult, doesn't it, for Hakkar? He's got that look on his face. It looks very hard work for him. Hakkar, though, just getting into gear. And now bashing Hakkar all over the place here. Good punches. And although he doesn't possess a great knockout ratio on his record, Sanavia, he's a pretty commanding puncher, isn't he? Switching now to orthodox, left hand forward. And then back to southpaw and wins again. And although it's very competitive, Hakkar looks like he's going to get the thin end here. In fact, I gave Hakkar a share of round 2, if you remember rightly. So 40-37 with 4 gone. And passions, of course, run high in Italy when it comes to sport, and boxing, of course, no exception. of replay then from round 4. Here we go then for the 5th round. And Sanavia putting his punches together, although nothing particularly clean on that replay. Here we go, round 5. So Morrade Hakar in the black trunks of from France. Origins, of course, in North Africa. Tough man. Only 2 previous defeats. And here he is fighting for a vacant European Middleweight Championship. Both men, by the way, solid middleweights. They've been boxing at this weight division since their careers began. I've always thought Ricardo has looked a bit on the fleshy side. As you can see, there's not a great deal of definition about his torso, but it belies his strength. He's a real throwback, isn't he? He's looks like a very old-fashioned fighter. Well, bit of cute footwork there from Hakar. And the Frenchman has just never stopped pumping those arms. I just wish I could be a bit more generous with him on the score, but as I say, there just seems to be more dynamism about the Italian. So no, both men beginning to mark up around the face, which is of course not at all surprising. It's been a physical fight, this one so far, and as much as there's been lots of punches landed from both fighters. Never been dirty, always been fought at a good pace. Well, good defensive work again there from Morrade Hakar, and Sanavia left punching thin air. Oh, big heavy shots coming in now. And Hakar was hurt there, I thought. And this work rate of Hakar's is quite incredible. He has won on points over 12 rounds on 1 previous occasion. And Sanavia's been into the 12th round on 2. One he won on points, the other he won on a final round stoppage, which suggests, of course, he's still a dangerous man right up until the final bell. Well, I've got to be generous here. Well, not generous, but I've got to be honest. I think Hakar, with all of that work, has probably earned a share of round 5. So still a 3-point gap then in favour of the Italian, for my money.
Non partire con colpi avventati, mi raccomando, sempre roba tranquilla, che abbiamo visto il gancio destro.
Good vision there of both these men on the split screen. Hakar getting marked up around the right-hand side of his face, and Sanavia, well, nothing significant on his, but beginning to puff up slightly around the eyes. Here we are, a bit of replay then from the 5th round, and there was a couple of cracking punches from Sanavia here, and that was the one that hurt. And all of a sudden Hakar just stopped working, put his hands down, left his chin out. I don't think Sanavia realised how hurt he was there. Round 6 then. So Morrade Hakar still skirting this ring. He's been forced to use an awful lot of leg work in this fight so far. And this is the kind of gladiatorial matchup that we absolutely love to watch. Both men with a huge desire to win and get themselves in the history books. And once again, the heavier punching of Sanavia making a difference here. And in comparison, Hakar's punches are ill-educated, but of course, one thing you can't do is dent that fighting spirit of his. It counts for so much, and of course so does fitness. You know, you can have all the skill in the world, but if you're not fit enough to deliver, that's your problem. Well, yes, that's the first time in the fight that referee O'Connell's had to say a word. It was, and once again, straight back in there with a little clash of heads. And of course, that's inevitable in a physical fight like this, where both men are standing almost toe-to-toe. A lot of the time, you're going to get the odd clash of heads. And once again, a great work rate from Hakar. Oh, and again, a good right that time from Morrade Hakar. And that's unusual. We haven't seen him sting Sanavia until that point, but he got through with a decent punch. And I tell you something, the punch stats on this one must be fantastic. They have not stopped working for 1 second. And I tell you something, Hakar is winning this round at the moment. This is, of course, the 6th. So we're approaching the halfway point, and if Hakar can keep this kind of pace going, he can cause Sanavia trouble. And yes, that's a round for the Frenchman, in my opinion. And so Michel Acarius thinks as well.
Mas Palomas in the canal.
Acarius, they're leaping up in support of his challenger, Morrade Hakar, and of course Michel Acarius' brother Louis fought Tony Simpson for this very title, the European Middleweight Championship, back in the late 70s, I believe. Well, decent right hook there from Sanavia. And if only Hakar can keep up his relentless forward march like he did in the previous round, he could stand a chance here. I don't think we've seen the best of Sanavia yet. It's the first time I've seen him at all, and probably you as well. And I've got a feeling that he's still pretty relaxed out there and might be saving his effort until later. And that might sound like an odd thing to say when you think that I've got him a couple of points in front at this point. But I don't think he's working flat out yet. Hakar, on the other hand, as you can see, is absolutely punishing himself out there. He is pushing himself to the limit. So this is the halfway point, and I've got to ask the question, will Hakar be this enthusiastic in the 10th, 11th and 12th if it gets that far? Well, it's not a great round so far for the Italian, and once again Hakar might just be doing enough to keep himself in front here. Although he's behind overall, he might be nicking this round at the moment. Yes, Sanavia's counter punches now are falling off target. Crowd, though, getting behind Sanavia. Excellent work rate again from Hakkar, and he really is boxing well above himself here. His position in this fight belies his ability, to be honest. As I said before, he looks like an old man out there and does overreach himself, but you can't knock him for effort. And that's a decent round, I think, for the Frenchman. Well, now I've got a 1-point gap in favour of the Italian. I believe it's Stefano Zoff down the ringside. The Italian lightweight, the European lightweight champion. So a bit of replay here. Lovely right hook, beautiful punch, smack on the button. So both corners trying to roast their men up for this 8th round. A very important part of the fight, in my opinion. I've got Sanavia 1 point in front at 68-67, and this is a vital point. It could level up here and be a real struggle down the home stretch, or Sanavia can get this round in the bag. He had his worst round so far, I think, in the 7th. And can't afford another one. Much better approach this now from Sanavia in this 8th round. He allowed Hakkar to outwork him in the previous, and knows he can't afford to do that here. Someone, of course, will be trying to inform him of how the fight stands at every stage. The corner, if they're honest, will be telling him. Of course, you can never trust your own corner. They always see things through rose-coloured glasses. Ask a neutral observer, that's the best way. Someone, of course, who knows their boxing but doesn't have any particular attachment to either fighter. So Hakkar now back to overreaching and falling short. So one of these fighters then will come of age, and I tell you something, they're working exceptionally hard here, and it'll take a decent fighter to beat them. As I said before, of course, an awful lot of other fighters are otherwise engaged with what they consider more major title shots, which is a great pity, because I still have a great deal of respect for the European Championship, although I think it's getting watered down, especially in the last couple of years. It's not what it was. And of course, at one time, a European title would guarantee you a top 10 place with the World Boxing Council in the world rankings, and you'd get yourself a world title shot eventually. But he couldn't imagine one of these lasting too long, the likes of Felix Trinidad or Bernard Hopkins. But having said that, they'd have to work very hard, especially Hopkins. Trinidad, of course, has got that huge punch. And that's a good round for Sanavia. Gets himself back in the picture and back with a 2-point lead. So 78-76, and a cracking fight, this one. And that rugged old face of Morrade Hakar gets an opportunity that he probably thought he'd never reach a European title fight. But of course, so much has changed, and there is a school of thought that eventually everyone will have a title. Everyone will be a champion. What a state of affairs we're in professional boxing. And it's a shame, really, because it overshadows the ability and the effort being put in by these two. Here we go then for round 9, 4 rounds to go. So Cristian Sanavia of Italy, the southpaw in the white trunks. He comes from Piove di Sacco in Italy. And the Frenchman, he hails from vacant in France. And interestingly, I've noticed here with Sanavia, he's not really been using the jab to great effect. Unlike Hakar, who's absolutely been pumping it non-stop. Because it's a fight winner. On this occasion, it probably won't be. But Sanavia has not used his jab as well as he could have done. And Sanavia, they're looking to get close and land the bombs. Not too worried about the pretty punches on the outside and the staple diet of shots. He just wants to get inside and create a big impression with a big shot. So at the moment, he's getting out-punched by Hakar. Decent left hook there from Morrade Hakar. So this is one of those fights then where in the later stages the rounds are going to go backwards and forwards. Well, it looks as if Sanavia might just be losing concentration here. Oh, just as I say it, he lands a peach of a left cross. And again. And what a tough guy Hakar is. Those punches sinking right down to his boots, but of course he's got to the point in the fight where it just doesn't hurt anymore. And again, that's the third big punch, and that's the fourth that Sanavia's landed in this round. Last half minute then of this ninth. I've got to say that Hakar's worked hard enough, I think, to still earn a share of this round, although he's taken some pretty hefty whacks. He's still worked hard enough to earn at least half of this round. Again, a thumping left hand from Sanavia. Yep, that's a level one for me. 3 to go. So here we go then, Cristian Sanavia in the white trunks, the Italian, with the hopes of the Italian crowd on his shoulders. And as I said, I think he's left a wee bit to the finish here. Bashed in some lovely hard punches in the previous round. And Morrade Hakar, well, tough as old boots, still there. Oh, and again, that right hook from Sanavia, good punch. And this is really what Sanavia enjoys. He just wants to close the gap and have a punch-up. Hakar, of course, can't afford to. He doesn't have that kind of power. And he probably doesn't have the kind of chin that would withstand it anyway. So he's got to try and keep it at arm's length and just keep pounding away. I've got to say that Hakkar must be one of the hardest working challengers for a European title I've ever seen. He has absolutely worked his socks off here. And yet, I don't think he's going to be rewarded. Big right hook from Sanavia. But of course he's not doing himself too many favours here, Sanavia. He's leaving too many rounds too close. And he might be very sorely disappointed if he thinks he can knock Hakkar out. There's every chance that Hakkar will stay there till the final bell. Once again a clash of heads there. A couple of thumping punches from Sanavia in this round. Not enough, I don't think, to offset the work that Hakkar has been doing. An uppercut, of course, from Hakkar would have been a decent punch against Sanavia, but he's not used it too much. Just one, in fact, I think he's thrown so far. And the way that Sanavia leans in like this, he's actually begging for an uppercut. Last few seconds of round 10. Decent round for the Frenchman, I think. The bombs Sanavia was looking for did not come. Well, things looking even more interesting now. 1 point the difference on my card. Sanavia in front. 2 rounds to go. I wonder how you're seeing this one at home. And just to remind you, the scoring of a boxing match, well, when all things are considered, the man who lands the most scoring punches with the knuckle part of the glove and with sufficient force on the target area should be winning the rounds. But we're seeing when those factors are level, you've got to take into account the quality of the punch. And although in lots of rounds Hakkar is actually working very, very hard, I've got to say that a lot of his punches that he is landing are not being landed with sufficient force. I don't think they meet the definition that I've just given you. So that's why I'm trying to justify my position of having Sanavia in front by a point. Although Hakkar looks like he's worked so hard, and he has, I think the quality of his punch is letting down. And this one could be too close to call. It's very, very tight. Hakkar still needs to win a round to get himself on level terms. But I don't really think that the judges will see it the same way as I am. Don't forget, I am entirely objective, completely neutral. But I'm thoroughly enjoying the fight. And hopefully you are too. And I just wonder how you're seeing it. And once again, an incredible work rate in the late stages of the fight from Hakkar. May not have expected it to have been this good for so long. It has not slackened for a second. If anything, Sanavia's pace has dropped. But Hakkar's hasn't.
What's your shoulder?
So past the halfway point in the 11th round. And a good-looking fight. And referee Larry O'Connell, of course, does not score. European title referees no longer score. They used to. Now it's 3 independent judges at ringside. Got a feeling that car is going to level this one up now. He's worked once again so hard in this round and also used a bit of clever defensive techniques as well. So my thoughts a couple of years ago of him never being able to contest a European title fight, well, looking pretty hollow now. And for all he lacks, he's making up for it in sheer determination, fitness and desire. Great fight to watch. And once again, look at this, just pumping away there. 10, 12 punches from Hakkar, and I think he's leveled the fight now. 106 points each. 1 round to go. So I've got a dead level. Michel Hakkar is there. He must be very, very fraught at the moment. This one's on a knife edge. I don't think the score is going to do it justice. It never does.
Yes, 12 now.
And once again, there you are. That's the battering of punches coming in here from Hakkar. All right, I say they may not be the hardest, but he's throwing them, and Sanavia is not.
Last round. Last round.
So referee O'Connor there getting lost in the excitement. Just checking this is the final session. Indeed it is. 3 minutes to go then to decide who's going to be the European Middleweight champion. And what a fight, what a fight. And absolutely, I'm glad referee O'Connell said that. He said, well done the pair of you. They probably didn't have a clue what he was on about, but oh, good hard jab there from Sanavia to start this last round. And this, well, if it had been in a neutral country, it'd be far too close to call. But of course, I did say at the beginning that the Italians have got a notorious reputation of being very hard to beat at home. But then again, when you consider the investment put in by the promoters, etc., you can understand it, can't you? Britain also becoming a hard place to win in. Germany, of course, that's also notorious, as is Spain. So Italy not out on its own anymore. It used to be.
Get that away.
Oh, good right hook. Lovely shot there from Sanavia. And then one slightly low. And Sanavia needs to do some work. I've got a feeling that Sanavia hasn't got quite the same kind of zeal as Hakkar, but he lands a lovely left cross. And once again, we're seeing Hakkar just totally outwork him. I would love to see the punch stats for this. It's something that's never really caught on in Europe. And again, a couple of decent single punches coming in from the Italian. But all the while, Hakkar still working away. He's so industrious. Oh, decent left hand again from Sanavia. And Hakkar reminds me of a gerbil we used to have that never stopped building tunnels. He's just working so hard. So the harder single punches then from Sanavia against the work rate from Hakkar. Who's your money on? Oh, what a great fight. Well done, lads. Fantastic battle. Well, I'm afraid at the end of that, I can't separate them. I've got it 1-16 each. A draw. Of course, no one wants to see a draw in a title fight, so they're going to have to find a winner. But of course, it's 3 judges. I suspect it'll go the way of the Italian. But what a fight, what a battle.
Who's giving the announcement? Who's giving the announcement?
I just hope we get it in English, because I do not speak a single word of Italian. Good fight, great battle.
Congratulations from me. You on the mic. Terrific fight from me.
Referee O'Connell tried to explain to the MC that he'd like to say, like, which is a traditional in British rings anyway, that if it is a great fight, the referee would like to be the first to give his congratulations, and the crowd, of course, join in. But I remember John Doherty up in Batley, I think it was, against a young fella from Liverpool whose name escapes me. Larry O'Connell refereed that one. He says one of the best fights he'd ever done in 20 years, and it was a cracker.
Allora, io chiederei a Cristian Sanavia di ringraziare il suo pubblico. Così tanta soddisfazione, grazie ancora.
We're not going to get in English, are we?
Anche perché Cristian da piccolo ha fatto abbastanza diventare matta la città del Piave di Stato. Il verdetto.
Allora abbiamo il verdetto,
Here we go.
3 giudici che hanno così votato. Il giudice Vasquez ha dato 115 punti a Sanavia e 113 a Car.
Well, I don't...
Il giudice Verdecche ha dato 113 punti a Sanavia, 115 a Dakar.
E così siamo al momento pari. Il giudice finale, giudice Florian, ha dato 115 punti a Sanavia
E 114 a Dakar.
Well, I think that's... We are... Well, unsurprisingly, Sanavia gets it, but what a cracking fight that was. And that has given a great deal of credence, I think, to the European Championship. And the fight has made the title, hasn't it? What a great fight there. And, well, I tell you what, it's interesting to see where Sanavia will go from here. But Hakar's career is far from over. What a great battle he put up there. And as I say, I had it a draw, but what a great fight. Do hope you enjoyed it as well. Take care. My name's Steve Holdsworth. See you soon. Bye.